Please, if you can hear me, you can just unmute your mic and say hello. You can hear me, and just unmute your mic and say hello. If you can hear me, please unmute your mic and say hello. Can anybody hear me? Can anybody hear me? Please let me know if you can hear me. Hi, Blessing. Welcome.
Yeah, good evening.
Yay, good evening, Mr. Ezekiel. Good evening. Great to have you on the live show. Great to have you on the live show. Good evening, Blessing. Welcome to the second edition of the Iceberg Show. So excited. We're about to have an amazing conversation. If you know anyone that needs to be here, please just share the link to them.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Yay! Our guest speaker is in the building. Guys, send this link to as many persons on your contact as possible. Anybody you know that needs to be here, please put out the link. You can just drop a message on the community and tell them that we are live. Good evening, Mr. Reuben. So great to have you. Please put out the link. Put out the link.
Good evening, Carlos. Hello, everyone.
Hello, Mr. Reuben. So good to see you. Thank you, sir.
Too.
Thank you so much for honoring the invite. We are so honored. We are so glad to have you. You know, whenever we have conversations and you share some of your experiences with me and some wisdom nuggets, you know, it's mind-blowing because you talk about it from a perspective that comes with many years of experience, you know. And I thought to myself, I cannot just be the only one enjoying this wealth of wisdom. My generation needs to have this perspective. For those that are struggling to start, they need this perspective. Those that are struggling to stay, they also need this perspective. And those that are desiring to also scale. And so that is exactly what the Iceberg Show is about. Many people admire successful entrepreneurs. However, they forget that just like the iceberg, there's a large mass of ice that makes it possible for you to see the top of the iceberg. And so this is a conversation where I'll be asking you questions about your journey, how you started your company, how long it took you to crystallize the idea into a real concept that could save, you know, the marketplace and also reward you financially. So these are real questions that young people have in mind, and we just want you to, you know, share your experience with us. So I'm going to read your bio very quickly, and then we'll get right into it. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. All right, Queenette, I see you. Okay, so Mr. Reuben Odum, CPP, SRMP, brings over 3 decades of experience in law enforcement, diplomatic security, and security in the humanitarian and development sectors, working with both the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the United States of America. Is certified protection professional and certified security risk management professional regional. Reuben is the Chief Enabling Officer, CEO of Graceworth Nigeria Limited, a prominent security consulting firm. Graceworth cater for international clients and high network individuals who value security. Currently serving as board member for ASIS International, Sub-Saharan African Regional Board, he has facilitated numerous security training sessions for various forums and organizations. Ladies and gentlemen, let's make welcome Mr. Reuben. If you can make use of the clapping emoji, please just put on the clapping emoji. Let's just say it. Thank you, Owens, Alexander. Thank you, Christy, Isaac. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. Good evening, Mr. Reuben. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you for that introduction. What the summary of what that is that I've been in Megad for a very long time. That's what it says. Sometimes I wear the suit, sometimes I wear tactical combat stuff and all of that. But I've just been in protection one way or the other for the last 30 years. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you all for coming. I hope that this will be worth your while at the end of the day. I do hope so.
Thank you so much. So, very first question. How did you know that, how did you start your journey, this whole security thing? Like, out of everything that you could have become or you could have done, how did you know security was the path? Where did it all start from?
So my journey into security was not something that I planned to do. At the time, my father told me about the opportunity with the Department of State Services at that time. And just to please him so that he won't use is against me in the future, I went for the exams and all of that. And for some reason, they picked me at that time. And then something that was something I was going to do for a short time just to make my dad happy became something that turned out I was very good at. At least that's what I was told. 1 year turned into a number of years. And then 3 years into that career, I had the privilege to have been posted at the time to work at the presidential villa. And that kind of changed the trajectory for me because I was presidential bodyguard for Olusegun Obasanjo, President Olusegun Obasanjo, for 8 years. And I did the 6-month stint with the late President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua. And then I retired at that time. And it might interest you to know that I started that job at 18. The whole security thing, became a bodyguard at 22. At 30, because of the kind of exposure I had about the country, I left. At 30, I retired after 12 years. And it was the very next year that I set up Grace Watt Nigeria Limited at the time. When we set it up at that time, we knew there was going to be a future for security, for private sector in that future. But what that journey was, we didn't know. But we dared to start at the time. So Grace Watt was registered in 2009, a year after I had retired. We didn't do quite much with it. We didn't even know, frankly, what to do with it. But we knew enough to put ourselves out there. So when I first started, I was actually paying to speak. If you had an event, we'll put in some money just to be able to be one of the sponsors, to have 5 minutes or 10 minutes opportunity to speak. That was where we started. Our first money that we got, our first break was a few years later, a training with an NGO. And then the first time that we really got clarity that there was a future in this was with the church in Port Harcourt. Even with all of that, we didn't get a break until after our 9 years of doing this. Our first break came when we landed an international client.
Okay.
And the last 6 years, we've been rising and rising and rising.
Fantastic, fantastic. So talking about rising, and rising, if you are going to break this down into, say, 3 to 5 value systems that you held strongly that has helped you make progress over the year, what would those 5 core values be?
First for us was clarity about the problems we are trying to solve. So as a security person, for instance, one of the biggest things we do in security is do a risk assessment. What am I trying to do? What are the issues that will spring up if I do this? What will happen as I go down the path? And how do I sort them out? So for us as security people, our foundation really comes around risk assessment. What is the vulnerability? What are we trying to solve? What will happen as we try to solve that, and how will we treat it when we get there? So the first thing, and something that every business should look at, is clarity around the problem you are trying to solve. One of the things that you see with a lot of entrepreneurs and people who are coming into business is that they get so excited with the solution that they have put out. You develop an app. We got an app. It's the next best thing. Is world greatest discovery after sliced bread. And you start to celebrate it. Again, the problem with that is that before your celebration is over, somebody is creating something that is doing something far better than what you're doing. So to really ground your business, you have to look at the problem you are solving critically. So for those of us in security, we do that risk assessment. And in security, and for the kind of business that we do, we actually fall in love with the problem. We stay a little bit with the problem. We dig deeper into the problem, because once you understand clearly what problem you are trying to solve, then you are able to come up with solutions that last, multiple solutions, different audiences, and solutions that will endure over time. So with falling in love with the problem that we're talking, take a principle like the 5 whys. There's a model or a template called the 5 whys, which is actually a root cause assessment tool from the Toyota production system that solves problem by repeating the question why. And you repeat the question up to 5 times just to peel away the levels of symptom. So I give you an example. The car won't start. Why is the car not starting? Oh, the battery is not charging. Why is the battery not charging? Oh, the alternator is not working to charge the battery. Why is the alternator not charging? Oh, the belt that controls the alternator is not working. Why is the belt that controls the alternator not working? Oh, the vehicle was not checked when it should have been checked. So once you start to love the problem enough and to go through like the 5 whys, it allows you to dig into the issues up to the root cause. So the solutions you are bringing now tend to go through those layers you are dealing with. Not only with how do we make sure that you check the car system is checked regularly. How do we make sure that when you check the car system, the alternator fan belt is working, which allows the alternator to work, which allows the battery to charge, which allows the car to start. So the real deal for me in terms of really solving problems is to dwell a little bit with the problem. Like I said, for those of us in security, when we do risk assessment, we tend to love the problem. You come and you see an event. We are looking at all the razzmatazz and all of that. No, we in that event as security professionals, we are thinking, what can go wrong in this event? If this go wrong, what will I do? And because we start to think about, if you will, worst case scenario, we are able to cater for the problems before they manifest. And then at the end of the day, you see an event that works without any problem, with the iceberg effect. The iceberg, but there's a lot of things that have gone under to make sure that event works. So we're doing the assessment. We're talking to the client. What do you want to achieve with this? Who do you want in the event? When do you want the event to start? And we are working with that client to say, this is what is possible. This is what outcome you will get if you follow our advice. But if we follow your advice, this is the outcome we're going to get, and we will not be responsible for it. So the real deal for me is dig deep into the problem. If you understand the problem up to the root cause, trust me, you're going to be here for a very long time. But if you pick a symptom up there and you do one app and you are very excited at it, before you wake up the next morning, somebody in other climes that are ahead of us in timing, will bring up solutions that will wipe away that app that you have brought. Again, the trick is, as you look at the 5 whys, you are able to provide up to 5 solutions based on the different levels of the research that you have done into that problem, which means that you can produce multiple products and you can reach multiple audiences, multiple clients that are facing the same similar problem.
Wow, fantastic. This is so powerful. It just reminds me of one quote my mentor always says: "A question deepens, answer expands." Right. So, what role does education play in the quality of questions you ask?
Again, the question is coming back to questions. What do you define as education?
Okay.
And with due respect, I'm sure that you're talking about street smart now rather than formal education.
Yes.
Especially
Yes.
in our climes, what formal education does really is regurgitate books that were written a long time ago. But if you look at education for the purposes of business, the best education you can get for the purpose of your business is mentorship. Find somebody who have done what you have done and succeeded in doing that thing that you have done and ask them questions. And talking about education, the way to learn, especially for business, is to fail, 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 and to learn each time you fail. So there's a concept of failing forward. Do you understand? So every time you fail, you don't sit down there. You don't drown by falling inside the water. You drown by remaining in there. So every time you try something and it doesn't work, like I always tell people, I never fail. I only learn. So every time that you miss a mark, which is what failure means, you learn what made you miss that mark, and you learn how to make sure that you are able to bridge that mark. So if you're able to get a mentor, that is fine. For most people, you might not get the mentor, physical mentor in the area that you're looking at and all that. But the good thing with education is that there are no limitations today. No walls hold you from learning. The plethora of books that are available that you can read, that you can change your mindset, that you can upscale your skills today. Nobody has any excuse for not learning. So here's the thing. Here's the key. Key. Keep educating yourself. The day you stop educating yourself, you're gone. So education is key to the extent that, one, you accept your level of ignorance, you accept that you don't know enough and that you can learn more. I tell people that the only people I interact with are the people who have some space in their memory bank. If you have learned everything, if you know anything, then there is no need for us to interact. I won't hire the most skilled person. I'd rather hire the person who has some knowledge but still has some space to learn more. So there will always be the opportunity to learn. Don't lose that opportunity to learn. And you can learn from everything that you see. You can learn from even a mad person on the street if you are looking enough, because the problem is with what you are looking to learn. So if you are not focused on a particular area of learning, you will not gain any knowledge, even if it is right in your face. So what are you seeking to learn? Who are you learning from? And more importantly, it's not learning for the sake of knowledge. Once your knowledge is tied to problem solving, is tied, for instance, to kingdom solutions, is tied to kingdom impact, to nation impact, you will see that your quest is different, your drive is different, and the result will always be different.
Fantastic. So, sir, earlier on we talked about the parable of the talents. We're going to be getting into that shortly. But before we get into that, one more question, and it's this. I have a lot of people tell me they've tried this, it didn't work, they've tried that, it didn't work. And now the question is, how long do you advise a budding or a rising entrepreneur to stay on an opportunity before moving to another?
So one of the biggest things in life today is the light bulb, right? How many times did they say the guy who tried to put together the light bulb tried before he got it? 1,000 times. First is if you got it right the first time or more, you are doing magic. If you got it right the first time, you're doing magic. Unless what we are seeing the first time is the iceberg and there's a lot of stuff behind there. So you get to do it over and over. But here is even the problem. And going back to the parable of the talent, the Bible says that he gave them gift according to their talent. The problem with that whole thing around, I tried a few times, I didn't get it, is usually when you are comparing yourself with another person who have done something similar. But if this is within the spheres of your talent, then you are not frustrated with trying many times, because even you know that you are pressing forward, but you are missing the mark. You are not quite there yet, you know. But here is the beauty of talent. And if you look at the parable of the talent, the master gave them talent. The talent is not theirs. So usually when you start to do that much struggle is because you are not syncing with your talent. So purpose and clarity is where you need to start up with. So most people look for what somebody else has done that is working, and they latch to it, or what is making the most amount of money. It's not something that relates to their talent, because here is it. Because the talent is given to you by God, it comes with originality. It is something that nobody else can do the way that you do it. So when you start up mimicking somebody, you are going to be out of sync, because what you are doing is photocopy. It's not the original. And the photocopy can never be the original. So the way not to struggle is to first start with the question with the creator: what did you put me here for? If your TV is broken, if you are struggling with your phone, what do? You go to the manual. That's how you do the troubleshooting. So if you don't want to do that kind of struggle, you go back to who gives you the talent in the first place. You go back to the man who has created you, and you ask him for direction and the purpose for which he has created you. And he will definitely, if you listen well, he will definitely show you the paths to go and all that. But every good thing, everything that had worked at any point in time will always come through some kind of problem. Take a look at creation in Genesis chapter 1, for instance. In verse 1, God says, let there be light, and there was light. God created the heavens. There was a problem at the time. There was even darkness that covered the whole sea, the whole face of the earth, before God said, let there be light. So if you are looking to do anything without struggle, to do anything without confronting problems, then that is where you will have challenges. Like I said, for those of us in security, we learn to love the problem. We learn to dig into the problem, and that is how we eventually find ourselves and we shine for a long while.
Fantastic. Can you throw a little bit more light on monetization? So let's assume you talked about purpose and clarity. So there's purpose, there's clarity. The person has found a problem to solve. So there's this thing with people that are passionate. They tend to focus so much on what they love to do for others, then they forget the aspect of monetization. So at what point do you monetize the idea that has been crystallized? So there's purpose, there's clarity. You now have an idea on the problem to solve. You have a target audience to solve that problem for. When do you start asking them for money?
So first of all, if your original idea of starting a business is to look for money, then go and find something else to do other than business. Because that money is not going to start as soon as you start. But here is it: the easiest way, the reason anybody should be in business really is to solve problems. And as you solve problems, the money will follow. The difference is whether your objective is money or whether that money flows naturally as a result of that business. So for people who have done business for a long time, your proof of concept starts with your friend. Oh boy, check this thing, it will work, use and make you see. You like them. At that point, you are not talking about money yet. You are only doing a proof of concept at that point. As you show people, as people get to see it, at that point, money is not an issue. You are only looking at solution. So here is the thing to do when you start, is to pursue value. Is to pursue value. And when you pursue value, money will come. Here is the interesting thing. And I will leave you to use your wisdom to figure this out, because it's a little deep. It's all about value, it's not about money. But the metrics for measuring value is money. I'll repeat that again. It's about value, it's not about money. But the metrics, one metrics for measuring value is money. How do you know that you are getting value for what you are producing, for the product or for the product you are producing or the service you are rendering? Is that somebody sees that value enough to be able to pay you for your time and effort. So when you start business, you will always almost start with what we call freemium. You're doing it for free. Like I told you, when I first started, it wasn't even so much free for me. I was paying to speak. But today, they pay me to speak. Because you must grow to that level where people see the value in what you bring to the table, and they will start to think, oh, because of what he's bringing to the table, we need to compensate him. We need to pay for his logistics in coming. We also need to appreciate him. But usually, they will appreciate you based on the value that you bring to the table. So once your goal is value, and once you deliver on the value, if money doesn't come today, money will come tomorrow. So here's the thing. Always know the value that you bring to the table. Don't compromise on that value that you bring to the table. Bring that value consistently. And somebody who appreciates that value will compensate you for what you bring to the table. So when I get my first break, in the first job that I got, the people flew me into Port Harcourt. They were generous to fly even my wife that I was traveling with at the time. As I was getting down the plane, somebody was there to receive me. They received me with a full escort. I'm like, what is all that for? They say, that's the instruction we're giving. Check me into the best hotel at the time and say, is all expenses paid? And by the time I was leaving, they wrote me a very nicely worded letter and gave me a check. I still have a photocopy of that check till tomorrow. Wow. Once I got out from that trip, I was like, there is something here. And I stayed there delivering the same thing and just improving and continue to deliver value to tomorrow. So it will first be value, and then the value will attract the clients, the value will chase money.
This is mind-blowing. Guys, please get your questions ready. If possible, ask your questions on the WhatsApp group, and then I am going to ask Mr. Reuben here. If you have any question, just put it on the WhatsApp community, and I'm going to ask the question. Or if you also want to ask your questions, you can just make use of the hand icon, and I'm going to ask you to speak. So, Mr. Reuben, let's talk a little bit about networking and volunteering. So there was a time we were having a conversation, and then you made mention of a number of organizations where you volunteer, and how it helped you or how it has helped you in your career in terms of, visibility and meeting certain people. So can you throw a little bit more light on the kind of communities to volunteer for that can help you in your career path, and also the visibility on how you can move from one level to another? Because I
Every
want to
business.
because I want to believe that um, organizations vary in terms of value based on the people within that community, right? So how do you choose organizations to volunteer for that can benefit you?
Every industry, every business, and every sector that you find yourself working in or doing business with have a group of people, associations, or organizations that sometimes tend to regulate or sometimes tend to advocate or speak for that industry. You must recognize that those organizations eventually become the cartel that runs the industry. They are the people who advocate and speak for that industry and position the industry. You cannot work in isolation. Here's what I advocate: join reputable organizations that support your industry or support your career or your business. And don't join them just to pay annual dues and to have your name on the register. They are always set up to solve some kind of problem. Don't sit down in the complainers bench and be talking about what are they doing with our dues, what are they doing, they are not doing this, they should have done this. Join volunteer roles in those associations and say, I am here to serve. I'm happy to serve. It gets you through the door into that sector. And you start to learn leadership skills, just working with people, understanding the mindset of people, understanding how the association work vis-a-vis the sector or the industry where you are in. And from volunteering, I dare ask you, if you feel compassionate enough, if you feel passionate enough to take up leadership role in those associations. They will help you grow in those industry, but they give you free visibility. For instance, I had the privilege of joining one of the associations, um, security associations here, that is an international organization. I started in Abuja as a chapter vice chairman, working under a chairman and just doing the labor. I became the chairman with the responsibility for the whole chapter. It teaches you leadership. It exposes you to that community of practice. It allows you to rise very quickly. If you're doing the right thing, people will know you. There are a lot of people who know me today. They don't call me by my name. They call me by my title in that organization. So from being Abuja chapter chair, I became assistant regional vice president in charge of 2 chapters, and from there to regional vice president for West and Central Africa, in charge of 8 chapters across 3 countries or 4 countries at the last time. And early this year, I was elected into the regional board for Sub-Saharan Africa for that same association. So it gives you, one, visibility. And today, that visibility from just Abuja chapter has taken me to visibility for the whole of the Sub-Saharan African region. But it also enables you to grow, because as you grow from vice chair, where you didn't do anything majorly, to the chair where you were responsible for everybody, to the vice president and all, your responsibilities continue to grow. And as your responsibilities continue to grow, it increases your exposure. At the end of the day, your network equals your net worth. But here is the thing about your network: you must work your network. It's not about flaunting names, it's not just about a LinkedIn page. It is not about who you know, it is more about who knows you. It's more about who knows your competence and can refer you to another person. It is more about who knows you and your competence enough to be able to say, this guy is a professional in this field. He can do ABC. And when you bring that value to the table, you get paid for the value. So network in and volunteering in organizations is your easiest way to rise up with your network, with leadership, and with bringing value that brings money to the table.
Fantastic, fantastic. So let me do a recap or a summary. So the first thing is purpose and clarity, and then basically getting becoming valuable and finding a way you can serve the marketplace. And then secondly, mentorship, getting a mentor, somebody that is doing what you want to do, that is producing the results you want to produce. And number three, volunteering. So you get access into a network of people within that your industry that can help you with visibility and also credibility. And you said something really powerful. You said you must walk your network. So it is more about who knows you and can refer you to another person than who you know. This is so powerful. During our first edition, we had our first guest speaker talk extensively about mentorship. And now you also made mention of mentorship. So mentorship is really key. And I think it is one area where majority of people in my generation have not taken. They just use the word, oh, I have a mentor, but they are not really learning. They're not really doing what needs to be done. So thank you so much, sir, for that. Does anybody have any question? Because I have a lot of questions. So
let me tell you what mentorship does.
Okay.
I parade 30 years of experience in security, right? What mentorship does is that it allows you to climb on my shoulder, and what I took 30 years to learn, you can learn in 3 years. That's what mentorship does. So you don't have to do the struggle that I struggled, because I am simply going to be able to tell you what the struggles are and provide the solution for you. So the mistake people are making is that mentorship is only about one guy with a gray hair who have done this, who can teach you. Books can mentor you. Industry leaders who have done things and have achieved things, you can learn from just reading books, learn best practices, and you can grow from those. So it doesn't have to be a physical person who is mentoring you. But even with mentorship, it behoves on you to derive value from that guy. I'm not struggling. So it's left to you to decide, okay, this guy has 30 years on his shoulder. How much of 30 years can I draw from him? I can give you all the 30 years if you ask for it. So you have to ask the right question. You have to have the right appetite. You have to spend the right time to have a conversation. Some people come and do a session or hear somebody for the first time. They are excited. They run away. They want to go and implement. Good luck with that. If you are humble enough, when you fail the first time, you will come back to ask questions. But what mentors do is that you don't need to reinvent the wheel. News break, the wheel is already circular. There's no need to reinvent it. Everything that you want to do, that you want to become, somebody is already doing it or becoming it. The easiest way to do is to learn. So mentorship comes with sacrifice. You have to take time to learn. A mentor gives you an appointment, you can't miss it because it's giving you his lifetime. And let me tell you, majority of the people who are available to mentor you today didn't have anybody to mentor them. They learn by failing. So you're getting free training and you are learning from the street. This is not theory. Guy's telling you his life experience and he's trying to instill in you what he could have done better. So all mentors usually want to bring the best version of you out, but it is left for you to get the right version to be able. So it is It is how much you squeeze
Mm.
that equals the juice that you get from a mentor. It's the same thing with any book that you read. It's the same thing with anybody that you are looking up to. It is how much that you squeeze from them that you get ultimately.
Mm. Fantastic. So I want to ask one more question. One more. So everything we're discussing is about the behind the scenes of success, right? So let's talk a little bit about strategy. So we've come into a new year. This is February. We have say an entrepreneur on the call that is currently making say 1 million a month, and they want to scale to 5 million a month or 10 million a month. What would you say is a framework, a growth framework that can be used or implemented that if followed, maybe 5 steps that would help them move from 1 million a month to 5 million a month or 10 million a month?
Systems. What are the systems that you have put in place that is working for 1 million a month?
Okay.
You must make sure that those systems are entrenched. Growth and scaling are not the same thing. When you move from 1 million to 5 million, that's growth. But when you scale, it's not just about increasing figures, it's about scaling the systems to work, which means, for instance, that those systems are automated in such a way that if you are not there, they are working without you as a CEO or owner of the company.
Okay.
You are scaling into other markets from the traditional market where you started from. It's just scaling of the systems, not just the money from 1 million to 5 million. You have to scale systems and make sure that those systems are entrenched in such a way that works without you. Those systems are entrenched to have redundancies. So when we talk about systems, for instance, we're talking about things like SOP. So you have a developer who is the guy that is the magician behind your business. And is the only guy who does development, who does web development, for instance, on your system. If he jackpot, for instance, or he gets the next big gig, you don't have anybody again to be able to do the same thing. The system collapses because you are all relying on him. But if you have redundancies for him, so the systems are such that they are layered to succeed. So in security, for instance, we say 2 is 1, 1 is 0. So if the system that you have currently depends only on you, it means that if you are sick or asleep, it's not working. That system must be elastic, must be entrenched in such a way where it doesn't depend only on you. It doesn't depend only on one major player. As different people are able to do different things. The vision and the mission is clear. You are here for the long haul, not just money. When we talk about systems, we are also talking about the core values that drive your business. So if you look at my company, for instance, the core value that drives our business is spelled help. Number 1, H, honor. Our reputation is our greatest asset. We protect it at all costs. We respect our client as we do our commitment. We say that our word is our bond. That's for H. E, our value is ethics. Professional integrity is the basis for our relationship. We deliver the best solution available. Integrity in every action that we take. L, we say loyalty. The confidence that you repose in us is invaluable. We will continue to appreciate it and protect that trust. We protect that trust. P, performance. We promise only what we can accomplish, and we strive to exceed expectation, our expectation and your expectation. So first we deliver and then we exceed. So once you see values that are not just written on the website and are written on paper and are things that drive us, then you know we are entrenching system. And if we scale, we're not going to fall because we are entrenched. So in order to scale, you need to look at the foundation that you have built. Don't scale only along the lines of revenue outcomes or increase in money and all that. Scale the whole system, which means that with your staff, you are upskilling them. What is the training and retraining program for the staff that you have? How are you treating them? As you upscale from 1 million to 5 million, is there a structure that says, okay, staff salaries will even increase along that line? Because guess what? They know that we are earning 5 million now. And we are earning 5 million at the same salary that we were earning at 1 million. If you do not make those adjustments, those systems are going to collapse. Somebody is going to run away with your client because your value system doesn't even honor the people who are scaling to make the 5 million. So scale with the system. Make sure the systems are layered, make sure that they are entrenched, make sure that they can stand the test of time. If you have weak structure at 1 million and you scale to 5 million, you are only going to increase the problem by 5. But if the structures work, then you are able to stretch that system and expand it easily without having to worry. So it's not just growth with number, is entrenching your system and stretching them to be able to do more. As you try to scale, the big thing is don't forget, we are solving a problem. We must always love that problem, and we must always go to the whys, the 5 whys, and then you are able to scale, and then you are able to grow over and over again.
So powerful, so powerful. This is a conversation that I'm definitely going back to listen to the recording, the replay. So I have 2 questions in the Iceberg community. First question is, how do you validate that a project has real market demand before investing deeply?
A project you're doing or another project somebody is doing?
It wasn't really stated here, but
it will go back to the beginning.
Okay.
I said as a security person, what we do is assessment. And assessment comes from the problem. What problem is that business solving? And if you can dig into the 5 whys that we talked about, then you'll be able to know whether they are solving real problems. Again, don't be excited at the solution, especially solutions that seem to be making money in the short term. And that's why today we have the bubble, like the cryptocurrency bubble and all the issues around there. So be wary about quick money. What problem are they solving? Are they solving real problems? And to what degree are they digging into this problem to solve? Are they applying just band-aid, cosmetic stuff? So for instance, if you come up with a scheme today that says, you know what, put 1 naira here, in 1 month you will get 30%. Nigerians will typically run to the place 30%. So 1 naira will give me 30 naira. They're not asking the question, how are you getting the 30 naira? In order for you to get 30 naira to give them, you must actually be making somewhere around 50 naira really to cover expenses and all that before you be able to give them the 30 naira you promise. I was asking the questions around what problem are you really solving? How are you arriving at this 30% or these returns on investment that you are promising? If they are not real, then that expectation is also false. Here's another thing that will work for you. Your instinct will tell you. That's how God has wired us. Your instinct will tell you. And the problem with us is that we ignore the instinct because of the greed, 30%. And typically those schemes will pay you 30% for the first time. And what they are doing is they are using other people's money to settle you, bring more people in. And by the time it's typically a pyramid scheme which saturates, and then they are not able to honor people. So again, what problem are these people solving?
Mm-hmm.
If they are not solving real problems, if you put your money in there, it's not real money. It might be real money for you, but you will not get it back. So think about what problem they are really solving and take away the greed from whatever ROI they are promising you and dig deep into the problems, at least 5 layers, up to the root cause of that problem. And your instinct will also tell you, if you are in doubt, pray. But here's the thing that's happened to me before. I ignored everything and I lost money. Monies is what I lost. Hundreds of millions of naira because I ignored, because we're not solving any problems. So it has happened to me before. So I'm warning you, fixate on the problem. Love the problem. What problem are they solving? Because the problem will gravitate naturally to the solutions that is bringing the value that is supposed to bring that returns on investment that you're looking at. They are not solving real problems. If you put your money there, you put your money in a hole.
Wow. What problem are they solving? What problem are you solving? Fantastic. So one more question, and then we're going to wrap up the second edition of the Iceberg Show. So this question goes like this: says, at what stage should a young creative focus on monetization versus skill mastery?
With skill mastery, you never stop. You must continue skill mastery. The money will meet you on the road. The interesting thing about skill mastery is that technology is evolving so fast. The young people are learning at a speed that is so crazy that you cannot afford not to master your skills. With money, especially for young people, follow the idea of delayed gratification. The money that lasts take time to build. And once the systems are entrenched and you have 100 million naira using an entrenched system, you can scale that to a billion naira easily. But when systems are not entrenched, when you don't think about delayed gratification, the first 100 million will go to buying a 2.4 million naira phone. And you'll be deceiving yourself. I need the phone to do my business. Lies. You just keep up with Joneses. Do you understand what I'm saying? Find yourself getting involved in the frivolities. Everything that lasts, you must imbibe the spirit of delayed gratification. Like your skills, as far as you continue to upscale them, your skills will never perish. But businesses fail. When your business fail, and typically statistics says that a large percent of new businesses fail within the first 2 years. And when they fail, the only thing that will keep you is those skills that you continue to learn, unlearn, relearn. So with the skills and all of that is an everyday thing. Like I said, keep is key, Key, keep educating yourself. That education will also come with financial education. Once you have the right education, get the education with skills. You also need to get the education about how to handle money. That in itself is a different form of education. And then ultimately it will not be a problem. But when money fails, your skills, provided they are up to date, will support you and will help you rise up.
Oh my God. Powerful. Thank you, sir. We have 5 more minutes before we wrap up the session. Let me see if we can take this question. What separates people who attend this is deep. What separates people who attend master classes from those who actually execute?
Execution is everything. Attending master class is just a number for the optics. Execution is everything. If you learn, you don't execute it, it's nothing. It's until you execute it that you know it. So I rather you didn't attend a master class but learn something and execute it than even pay for that master class and not execute it. You are wasting your time. It's all in the execution. Master class is just gibberish. It's another guy telling you any number of things. In today's age and time, there's scarcity of authentic information. Anything that you want to learn today, anything anybody wants to deliver in a master class, if he puts it on Google, if you put it on ChatGPT, he will get material that he will come and spew out for you. So especially if what you are taught in that master class is not something that you can execute, you just lost your money. So it's in the execution. So be very careful about the master class you attend. Number one, whoever is doing the master class is only a master class because he's able to tell you what problems he encounter and what problems he is able to solve. Number two, he's able to tell you what problems you are going to encounter and how you are able to solve them. Practical information, and he must be able to say that based on what I know, based on what I'm telling you, if you have problem, I'm here to support you. That's how you know you have attended a real master class. So be very careful about what class you are going to, that you are not mastering anything. A master class that you attend must first present somebody who is a master in something. He must show what he has done, what problem he has solved, right?
Yeah.
And then he must be able to show you practically how he can hold your hand or how you will do something. He must be able to understand the problem. He must be able to do a deep dive into the problem enough to invoke solution from you. So let's be very careful about education that is worthless. Today there are a dime a dozen. There is so much out there. Anybody can do anything. Anybody can write any book. Anybody can promise anything. Be very careful what people are promising, especially when you have to spend a lot of money to do it. So typically the person must show you what they have done or what they are doing. I am more interested, listen carefully, I am more interested in what a person is becoming than who he was or what he has been. What is he becoming? It's more important than who he was. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So if he was a banker many years ago in a bank that has failed, where is he today? I mean, if he's not, if he doesn't know how the problem presents today, and if he can't speak to the issues today, if he can't speak to the issues in a way that will resonate with you, then I don't know what masterclass that it is.
So let me just ask this question. So why do you think people struggle to execute after they attend a master class that has frameworks for execution?
It's because they probably don't understand the problem. They probably don't know why they had to attend the master class. Because if you understand what you're looking for in a master class, the master class delivers on what it says it will deliver, then execution shouldn't be a problem. But make no mistake about it, execution is not as easy as I'm saying it. It takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of drive. It takes a lot of push. But the thing is, do you know why you are here? Do you know what problem you are created to solve? What is driving you? What is pushing you? If you understand your gifting, if you understand why you are here on earth, what is the purpose God has put you out here for, it will push you naturally to solve problems, and execution becomes easy because you have a clarity of purpose and you have a discovery of who you are. And direction becomes very easy. and execution becomes something that is a second nature to you.
I,
Suppose there will be discovery and then direction and then execution is easy.
yeah. And then it's just to confirm, and it's also possible for somebody who understands or somebody who executes within the confines of a particular area to also struggle with execution in another. Am I correct? Especially
Absolutely.
okay.
Absolutely. It's not a one size fit all thing. You have to be very careful around there are certain principles that can apply. There are some that don't. So you have to be very careful.
Okay, fantastic. I have two hands up. Guys, it's 10 p.m. I need to allow Mr. Reuben go.
Yeah, I'm happy to take the questions. I mean, they have committed to be here. We're fine with taking them.
Okay, great. Okay, so Ezekiel, your hands are up. Can you ask your question? Then Joy will go next.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Carlos, and thank you very much, Mr. Reuben. It was indeed an insightful moment, talking about clarity, mentorship, and you talked about books and other things that shaped you. Just a kind of how do I put it now? A plea. I want to know, what are the 5 books that you read that actually shaped you, not just professionally now, that gave you clarity, that gave you a kind of focus, even though you're into the security, but what are those 5 books that really had impact in your life? If you don't mind, you can share. Thank you.
Ezekiel, you are looking for my trouble. Okay. I mean, I'm reading a lot of books right now. One of the books I'm reading right now is A Tipping Point. But I mean, 20, 30 years ago when I started, some of the books that I read quite a lot of the works of John Maxwell, John Mason. I remember one of the books that I read back in the days from John Mason, You Are Born an Original, Don't Die a Copy. I read Rich Dad, Young Dad, Retire Rich, Retire Young. There's Robert Kiyosaki's book, The Cash Flow Quadrant. Those were some of the early books that I read. And Ezekiel, you know about the next book I'm going to talk about, which is one book that I've recommended to you to read, By the Future by Mensa Otabio. Great book. So those are some of the books that I read. I probably read all the works of John Mason, John Maxwell, at the initial time. Of course, Robert Kiyosaki's books like By the Future by Mensa Otabio. I'm still reading quite a lot of books. I'm in a group where we're doing book reviews of different books. In a group that I'm in, we're just doing the review of the Atomic Habits. Great books. There's a Salary of CEO, some of the books that I've read and bought recently. So you can't stop learning. There's a lot of materials that you can devour with books. I'm happy to share some of the books that I've read with those people who are interested. But it's one way that you can get enough information that will allow you climb on those people's shoulders and succeed.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Joy,
Thank you very much.
Joy Baribo, you ask your question.
Okay. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, thank you so much today. My question is, I want to show more. I didn't get it when you said growth, and I want to know the difference between growth and scaling.
So scaling will be system driven. Growth will just be around numbers. I want to move from 1 million to 5 million. Sometimes you can just sell a lot or product more and you can grow that way. But with scaling is entrenched systems with manpower, with standard operating procedures. You are growing along the lines of your vision, your mission, your values, not just numbers. It means that you are doing a deep dive into the problem that you are trying to solve in such a way that as you stretch, you are still able to stand. It's not just, oh, I had 5 staff before, now I have 20, we are growing. But if your HR system is bad, you are paying poor wages, you don't have a way to remunerate them or to be able to take care of your people properly, you don't give them rest, you don't worry about their mental health. That is how one day from 20 staff, people will just start leaving because the systems are not entrenched. So growth and scaling are not the same thing. Growth will be just increasing in numbers, but scaling will be entrenching the system and then replicating that system. Once you get the system right, you are able to stretch it so that if the system is right, you are able to apply it in Abuja and Port Harcourt or in other places. But if you don't get it right and you think that, okay, we're just growing, you set up another system in Port Harcourt and there's one in Abuja. Maybe the people in Abuja, they are very nice, they can tolerate, or let's use Makodi. They are very nice, they can tolerate your low wages and the way that you treat them. But somebody else in Port Harcourt might not because the cost of living is high. So if your systems don't support whatever you're doing, it will collapse ultimately. So there's a difference between growth and scaling.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
My mic was muted. Adediran up there. His hand is up.
Yes, just one more question and then we'll call it a night. Adediran, please ask your question. Final question for the night. Adediran, are you here? Is your mic muted? We can't hear you. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Reuben. So there are 58 persons on this call, 57 persons on this call, and I was doing a research last year, and the research says there are over 1.5 billion Africans, and out of that number, over 60% are under 30. So there are high chances that on this call we have over 60% of us that maybe 30 or below. So what is that one advice that you would give? You've been in your career for over 30 years, and we have conversations, and I'm always blown with how you always see that there's a whole lot more to achieve and attain. So the question is, what is that advice you give to us to keep that fire burning in line with what we desire to achieve as individuals without letting the fire go off? Because success is something that can bring in complacency. So what keeps you on fire as a person? What keeps you on fire?
I like the statistics that you just rolled out, but what that statistics means is that the future of the world is Africa. Forget all the Japa syndrome and the rest of it. This is the youngest continent in the world. The youngest people reside here, which means that the future of the world is right here. So my question for you young people is, if the future of the world reside in Africa, because we are the youngest continent and we have the youngest people here, it means that the brain power that will drive the future. Why do you think other countries are creating opportunities for young people to come to school, scholarship, come to school in Europe, America, and the rest of it? Why do you think we're going out there and succeeding? It's because that future is right there. The question I want to ask you is, where do you position yourself in that future? Every once in a while, and I've moved in my career from different workplaces and done different things. Every time that I get to any stage in my life, the question that I ask God is, God, when you created me, is this all that you made me to be? And if I have any inkling that this is not all that I am meant to be, then I strive to move to the next level. So my question is, the talent that God has given you, What are you doing with it? The requirement for everybody is to double at the minimum your talent. The man who had 5 got 10, 100% growth. The man who had 2 got 4, 100% growth. The man who had 1 needed to increase it to 2, and he would have still had 100% growth. You will give account for that talent that God has given you while you're alive, while you can occupy and conquer, so that you will die empty without burying that talent, and meet your Creator, knowing fully well that I have finished the course. I did what you put me on the earth for. Find your purpose and fulfill it.
Find your purpose and fulfill it. Thank you so much, Mr. Reuben. Ladies and gentlemen, please let us make use of the emoji, the love emoji, the clap emoji, and if you can unmute your mic, just unmute your mic and say thank you so much, Mr. Reuben.
Thank you so much,
You can just
Mr.
unmute your mic. Say
I
thank you.
appreciate all of you for taking time to be here. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Carlos.
Thank you all for joining. I appreciate you.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate.
We appreciate, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We
guys.
appreciate so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining.
Thank you so much, sir.
Uncle Perry, great to see you. Great to see you. Friday, Emmanuel, Joy, Favor Daniel, Friday, Emmanuel, Messi Jacob, Joy, Fabi Sua. A lot of amazing questions on the call. I can see Samuel Daudu. Thank you so much, guys, for joining. Now, next week, Wednesday, I am going to have a session where I'll be showing us how to develop systems and structures that work. So if you have a business and you want to scale, maybe in sales or in structure, you don't want to miss next week, Wednesday. I'm going to be sharing my screen and showing you exactly how entrepreneurs break down complex systems into simple daily execution frameworks. You don't want to miss it. Now, I'm going to leave the WhatsApp community open. You can just say thank you to Mr. Reuben in the community. He's there. So just say thank you. And then if you have questions, please keep it coming. We'll do our best to drop answers via chat until we meet again next week, Wednesday. Thank you so much, Mr. Reuben. Thank you, everyone. Okay, share the link to the WhatsApp group here. Okay. All right, let me do that very quickly.
Like some hands are up.
Okay, Messi Jacob and Samuel Daudu. You know what? I'm just led for us to. I'm led to lead us in a prayer for those of us that are still on the call. And it's a prayer for the grace to execute, the grace to stay in purpose, because there are times where you've discovered purpose, and maybe because of what you see other people doing, because of the success that they are amassing, you feel like, oh, what am I doing here? Let me go and look for something else to do. Meanwhile, God has placed you there. God is preparing you for a generation, and so there's that temptation to want to exchange, your birthright for a morsel of bread. I don't know. I just got that in my spirit. I just want to lead us in a prayer that God would give us staying power, the grace to stay, because it's in the place of staying. The Bible says, they that wait on the Lord shall be strong. They shall mount up with wings as eagle. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. Right? So, precious Holy Spirit, thank you for today's session with Mr. Reuben. Lord, you have led him to speak to us prophetically, intellectually, both from his experience and his wealth of wisdom and understanding. Lord, we ask that you continue this conversation in our hearts and in our minds. Those unanswered questions that we have, I know that you've answered it through Mr. Reuben in this conversation. Lord, help us that will not just be hearers of these words alone, but I will also be doers. And Lord, also open our eyes to see that this conversation aligns with what we are currently experiencing in our personal lives and in our business. And as we find answers like David that asked, shall I pursue, shall I overtake, shall I recover? And you told him, pursue, overtake, and you surely recover. The same way he had the energy to execute, and the same way he made your word to come through, Lord, we receive that same energy to execute, and we receive the grace for your word to come through in our lives. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. Thank you so much, everyone. See you next week, Wednesday. I can't wait to have that conversation with you. I'll be having that session myself with you. No, I won't be bringing any guests. Let us have a system and a structure to execute all of this powerful wisdom that comes. And then I'm also going to drop the recording tomorrow morning once it's ready. If it's ready tonight, I'll drop the recording tonight, the link, so you can just go back and listen to it again. Until we meet again next week, Wednesday, have a beautiful evening. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ezekiel. Have you found the link to join the WhatsApp group?
Yes, I have.
Okay, I see you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Friday, Emmanuel. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good night.
Good night. Divine, I see you. Adedeji.
Thank you.
Adedira. Bruno. Catherine. Tiagoze James. Chemela. Christabel. Daniel. Deborah. Ezekiel. Faith. Friday. George. Thank you, Chemela. Irene. Joy. Mercy. Philip. Ogunleye. Prime and Elegance, Sinomi Matthew, Tommy J. Thank you. You can share the WhatsApp link to your friends, to your community. Let them join the Iceberg community and see what's happening. All right. Bye. I think there's a question here. Please, will the recording be dropped in the WhatsApp group? Yes. I will drop the link in the WhatsApp group to the recording. Good night.
Yeah, there you go.